Wayne Rooney is almost 8 months younger than Cristiano Ronaldo. Leaving Old Trafford, the Englishman played on the same team as Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who is 4 years older. The motto of his career is started early, finished quickly. Rooney is remembered for a series of grand debuts, but he couldn't finish on a high note. All of England is holding a grudge. When it comes to great footballers, he isn't the first one that comes to mind. Their expectations became his problem. They wanted a return to the 66th year and the Ballon d'Or from him. After all, the country had never encountered a talent of such magnitude before. Wayne was born and raised in the suburbs of Liverpool. The boy who fell in love with the game was noticeably ahead of his time, competing against older opponents from a young age. His stocky figure helped him stand out, and his skill level surpassed that of his peers by a significant margin, specifically 3 times. While playing for Everton's youth team, he scored 114 goals in 29 matches. Such a big difference allowed him to play for the U19 team at just 15 years old. To get their hands on such a gem, Everton scouts had to go through a moment of truth. The fame of the child spread like Beatles hits. Liverpool was interested in him, but his family taught Wayne to love Everton. The guy stayed on the blue side. His love for Everton is why the guy stayed on the blue side. The first choice determined the vector of his career development. Having closed Anfield, Rooney opened Goodison and became Liverpool's enemy. Destiny pointed the way to Manchester United. All that was left was to make a name for myself. Wayne's development certainly doesn't fit into the usual football canons. During his usual maturation period, he was already regularly performing at the Premier League level, the very one where stars from other championships, unaccustomed to high intensity and physical pressure, are predicted to fail. But the 16-year-old handled the demands well, and, most importantly, he was psychologically ready. He feared nothing, not overthinking the importance of each moment. One of them made him famous. On the eve of his 17th birthday, Rooney gave football an unforgettable gift, making the whole country talk about him. In the match against the mighty Arsenal, who hadn't lost in 30 games, he came onto the field in the 80th minute with the score at 1-1. 10 minutes later, elegantly controlling the ball near the opponent's penalty area, Wayne took a magnificent long-range shot. His debut goal in the Premier League was a sight to behold. The young hero crushes the unbeatable team with a stunning strike. Anyone who saw it won't be able to forget. Wayne Rooney, remember this name, shouted the commentator. Wayne Rooney. The young forward literally was ahead of his time. Rooney signed his first professional contract 3 months after scoring against Arsenal. In his debut Arsenal season, he scored relatively few goals, but the value, of his achievements multiplied. Another number is age. For a 17-year-old boy, 33 matches and 6 goals in the Premier League seemed like a fairy tale dream. The call-up to the national team didn't take long, but England could have been late. Wayne's paternal ancestors are from Ireland. The local association tried to lure the wunderkind, but received a firm refusal. The young man felt like an Englishman to the core. His home country recognized his dedication, making Wayne the youngest debutant for the national team. And his talent allowed him to become the youngest goal scorer. Record numbers quickly gave way to adult achievements. 18-year-old Wayne went to the European Championship as the main forward. When he scored 4 goals in the group stage, including 2 doubles, the fans of the Three Lions were over the moon. The imagination painted big victories. With a player like this, England is in for a golden era. Dreams were shattered by harsh reality. At the start of the quarter-final match, Rooney got injured. Without their newly minted leader, the ancestors lost to Portugal in a penalty shootout. But the expectations didn't go away. His heroics at Euro 2004 did Rooney a disservice. From that moment on, before every major tournament, English fans expected miracles from him, and after failure, they made him the main culprit. Failures? Having gained the love of the people, Wayne stopped being just a regular guy who discussed his goal against Arsenal with his school friends. He lost interest in his favorite club, ignited by a desire to change his surroundings. Everton went all in, offering the young player $50,000 a week. The biggest contract in the club's history. And all of this for an 18-year-old player. Rooney's phenomenon changed the boundaries of familiar reality. However, money can be made elsewhere, and winning at Goodison was tough. Everton finished the season above the relegation zone. Before the transfer window closed, Manchester United made a risky but fitting offer. 27 million didn't set a record, but it's the biggest amount ever paid for a player at that age. The Manchester United board took a long time to believe Alex Ferguson, thinking that a teenager couldn't be worth that much money. A month later, the impressions changed. The expensive deal started to feel like a heist. Everton was robbed, losing a generational talent. It took Rooney just one match to conquer Old Trafford. The consequences of the injury delayed him. The debut lasted a month, but when it finally happened, the audience was completely thrilled. It seemed like it would be hard to overshadow the impression of the goal against Arsenal. But Wayne handled the mission without any problems. In response to one beautiful strike, he answered with 3. Thanks to his efforts, the Champions League duel against Fenerbahce took on a historic character. The audacious debutant was creating events that are hard to imagine. A new team, a new tournament, the first match. For Rooney, there were no barriers.
A young piece of skill, and now he's going for the goal. Wayne Rooney arrived at Old Trafford.
A hat-trick and an assist. A new hero stepped onto the stage of the theatre of dreams. Manchester crushed their opponent, while Cristiano Ronaldo sat on the bench for the entire match. The events of the evening hinted that the multiple Ballon d'Or winner would not be the Portuguese. Rooney scored his next goal after 4 games, but it took another 11 years to see another hat-trick in the Champions League. He finished his debut season in Manchester as the team's top scorer with 17 goals. But those modest numbers reflected the circumstances. The main scorer for United was Ruud van Nistelrooy, around whom the game was built. But the Dutchman missed half of the matches that season due to injury. Most of the criticism aimed at Wayne always revolved around his statistics. Often, it didn't match the status of a superstar forward. The thing is, the Englishman rarely became the tip of the attack, often playing deeper or on the wing. The role of a playmaker left its mark. For much of his stellar career in Manchester, he lived in the shadow of his leading scorer. First it was Van Nistelrooy, then Ronaldo, and then Van Persie. By straying away from the epicenter of events, Rooney automatically crossed himself off the list of unique talents that emerged in one period. Van Persie and Ronaldo began to share universal fame, while he earned the reputation of a local hero. Wayne showed consistency, scoring more than 10 goals in 11 consecutive seasons. That's a Premier League record, but he only had 2 truly star seasons. At a time when the achievements of the Wonder Kid were evaluated through the lens of age, he played yet another memorable match. The legendary team of London Arsenal, which went through the championship unbeaten, rewrote history. But not everyone remembers who stopped it. It was that very young lad who upset Wenger's team 2 years ago. The match at Old Trafford went far beyond the league table. The rivalry between bitter enemies reached its peak. The Gunners had not lost in the league for an unbelievable 49 matches. The Mancunians truly couldn't let this remarkable streak reach a symbolic milestone. Rooney didn't falter under the pressure of the match. On the contrary, he embraced its spirit. In the middle of the second half, he earned a penalty. Van Nistelrooy put the hosts ahead, and at the end of the match, Rooney personally sealed the deal, celebrating his 19th birthday. He didn't score as much as people expected, but his stunning goals could turn any ordinary match into an event. 3 months after the triumph over the unbeaten Arsenal, England was once again discussing unique talents. Rooney. In the cup duel against Middlesbrough, he elegantly lobbed the goalkeeper from 30 meters out. A magnificent goal that wasn't even the best in the match, because Rooney scored again, irresistibly striking on the volley from the edge of the penalty area. This goal was recognized by the BBC as the best of that season. This award has been around for over 50 years, but no one has won it more often than Wayne Rooney. Wayne's appearance portrayed a true predator in the penalty area. But when he received the ball, it became clear just how misleading first impressions can be. The main asset of the Englishman was his technique. Not flashy beach tricks, but a clear understanding of the game. Wayne, knew how to deliver the ball to the right spot, whether it was a shot or a pass. His execution skills always impressed.
And just like that, Rooney tries from distance. Oh! And this is Wayne Rooney with an amazing strike.
Appearance isn't everything, but even for a footballer, it can become a problem. The famous nickname Shrek, which was given to Rooney, concealed not just comedic irony. In moments of sharp criticism, he was accused of caveman stupidity, pretending that the football environment was made up entirely of academics. The accusations regarding marital infidelity also seemed out of place. Wayne's main vice, which clearly affected his career, was his weakness for alcohol. One of his childhood idols, Paul Gascoigne, who left Everton shortly before Rooney's debut, set a bad example for the young man. This is a key factor that affected the duration of his performances. With a young metabolism, dealing with the consequences of drinking was easier, but after 30, the physical condition of the footballer took a sharp downturn. His appearance worried not only the fans, but also the player himself. By the age of 25, Wayne started to rapidly go bald and decided to solve this problem with a hair transplant. For his temporary return of his lush hair, the forward received an extra dose of mockery. Oddly enough, but in relation to Rooney, appearance played a significant role. Not everyone could accept that a simple country boy could perform such wonders on the field. The stately image of David Beckham could have made life easier for Rooney. In terms of talent and achievements, he was no less than the recognized heartthrob, but he was treated differently. The first seasons in Manchester were marked by a period of restructuring. Alex Ferguson was building a new championship team. Rooney was an integral part of the foundation, but just before the project was completed, a serious problem arose. It arose far beyond Old Trafford. At the 2006 World Cup, the English team was once again knocked out in the quarter-finals by Portugal, and Rooney didn't finish the match. This time it was due to a red card, which was influenced by Cristiano Ronaldo. The Gems of Manchester had a serious falling out, creating a conflict situation. She could have prevented them from playing for the same club, but Ferguson found a Solomon-like solution, reconciling the team's top talents. But the England national team never found it. The recipe for success. The beginning of Rooney's career in the national team resembled an epilogue. In his debut Euro, Wayne scored more goals than in the next 5 tournaments combined. This fact is always recalled when discussing that he is the top scorer in the history of the national team. He lacked goals in big matches for full recognition. Without them, England never made it past the quarter-finals. But there were no problems with achievements at the club. With Ronaldo and Rooney at the helm, Manchester United entered a golden era. The Red Devils won the Premier League 3 times in a row. However, the role of the leading player went to the Portuguese, who began to progress at an astronomical rate, while Rooney's scoring remained at the level of his debut season. In addition to their success on the national stage, Manchester reached the Champions League final twice, winning once. However, during those campaigns, Rooney scored only 2 goals in the knockout stages. After waiting for Ronaldo's departure to Madrid, the nominal forward finally led United's attack. According to Wayne, it was the best season of his career. In 44 matches, he scored 34 times. Rooney shot, goal, goal. At his peak, Rooney messed it all up himself. The player shocked Ferguson with his desire to leave the team, citing his ambition to fight for titles. At first, the demands seemed strange, but after the contract was extended for 5 years, it took on a comical tone. 3 years later, the situation repeated itself. Blatant blackmail to get better financial terms. It seriously lowered Rooney's standing in the hierarchy of club legends. The fans haven't forgotten this. That's why the top scorer in Manchester United's history isn't a favorite at Old Trafford. His hometown fans nicknamed him Shrek, while his teammates called him Waza. The slang term doesn't have an exact translation, meaning in a good way a weirdo or a freak. Once, Rooney vividly demonstrated what that means. In February 2011, Old Trafford hosted yet another Manchester derby. The game was heading towards a draw until the Theatre of Dreams was shaken by a dream goal. Overhead punches are always a spectacle, but even among them there are standards of beauty. This is how Wayne Rooney's shot turned out, which was recognized as the best in the Premier League in its 20 years of existence. After reaching his peak a year later, Rooney matched his star numbers to the exact unit, scoring 34 goals again. However, in those seasons when Rooney was undoubtedly the best player on the team, Manchester didn't win any significant trophies, and after the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson, the era of great victories at Old Trafford became a thing of the past. just like in Wayne Rooney's best years. At first, the experienced striker maintained his reputation as the team's top scorer, but this was no longer the Manchester that everyone feared, and his personal stats didn't impress anyone. Over time, Rooney's status in the team declined, as did his position on the field. The ability to read the game and deliver an accurate pass came in handy in midfield. Wayne finished his career not only as the second top scorer in the Premier League, but also as the third on the list of best assist providers. When it became really difficult to cover up poor physical condition with talent, Rooney went to finish his career at Everton. He was 31. Hello Erops. Rudy will rise. After thanking his home club with 10 goals, the player decided to finally rid himself of the pressures of the Premier League and move to MLS. The American dream was tempting with good numbers, and Wayne Rooney's salary made up a large portion of DC United's wage budget. In return for such generosity, the Englishman paid back with 25 precise strikes, one of them added to his list of personal masterpieces. Wayne lobbed the ball over the goalkeeper from his own half. You can't drink away talent. Although Rooney tried, continuing to replicate unpleasant stories while under the influence of alcohol, Wayne finished his playing career at Derby County and eventually slowly and steadily moving into the coaching role. Despite the swift passage into obscurity, Wayne Rooney left as a legend, securing his place among the best players in English football. But even legends can't escape comparison. Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi showed what heights he could have reached. That's why many believe that the Englishman only fulfilled half of his potential.